Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to our very first live stream at your friend's family farm over here at Blossom Barn Cidery.
Welcome everybody. We're excited in this next thing that we're doing, this YouTube channel and live streaming and all that. We're all new to it and we're happy to share it and have you come on this journey with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first things first is that we have just started this YouTube channel as a representation of Blossom Barn Farm and Cidery. Some people might know us from the cidery mostly, but there's a lot that happens here on the property for the cidery, but also just to keep the day to day operations going. I'm really lucky to be married to this guy. I'm Erin Chaparro, and this is my husband.
I'm Jeremy Hall.
And we are now living on Jeremy's family farm. So that's, we wanted to be able to share some of that with everyone. And, oh, what's that you have there, Jeremy?
This is our estate perry. Everything we make here is out of local pears. This is a big pear growing area, so I wanted to join the party and bring a beautiful libation to the valley.
Nice. And I have our passion fruit perry. Salud.
Salud.
Just a little bit of hair in my, I have to call the cider maker about that. So that's a passion fruit perry. It's so good. Technically, we call it passion perry.
Mm-hmm.
So today in our very first live stream, we're going to cover a few topics. One is like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? What is this channel all about? We have kind of three broad areas that we'll be talking about, sharing videos about on the farm. So the first is the fact that we have this cidery. So we have a farm-based business. And the cidery is just one of them, but technically we do sell other farm-based products. We have, gosh, right now we just had the apiary brought in, and so honey was something that we started last year, and we're partnering with a beekeeper on that, but we sell the bee products and incorporate them into our cider, so we sell them that way. We have sold eggs. We're not doing that right now, but we do have chickens, and actually what we've done with the chicken eggs are sell egg salad sandwiches here at the cidery. So what else about the farm-based business part?
Well, this area has been growing hay for a long time. We've continued to do that. We have a beautiful old hay barn on the property that we store bales of hay in, and we have another local neighbor that's got donkeys like us and comes and picks up hay. We also use other things from the garden in our menu on the in the tasting room. So we're starting to make some crepes, and last year we did a lot of sandwiches, like Aaron said, with the egg salad. But we're in the middle of asparagus season right now, so we're starting to pickle asparagus. And one of the best things that we inherited from my dad's cultivation is a really productive asparagus patch, raspberry and strawberry patches. So those three things are incorporated into our menu.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the asparagus, I think, put in the comments if you've ever seen asparagus growing or if you have had asparagus in your garden. I hadn't seen it before until I came here and saw Jeremy's dad is Fred, and until I saw what Fred had done here. And it's just a really interesting vegetable. Right? It doesn't have seeds, right? It's very interesting looking in the garden. So we'll definitely be sure to share some of that. But the farm-based business, as Jeremy said, the raspberries, the strawberries, and the asparagus are things that actually go into the cidery or ciders. And then the honey as well is kind of complementary to the cider. So we'll talk about that. We've just been in business with the cidery since 2018, which is actually, cheers, that's a big success.
Yeah. To survive a time when a lot of cideries and wineries are struggling.
Yeah, and also that we made it through the pandemic too.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal. So that's kind of the first big topic that this channel will be discussing. The next one is just general gardening practices, orcharding practices, and composting. So as a part of the cidery, we have how many trees now? Perry pear
A
trees?
little less than 500, 485-ish trees, all old world Perry pears that are for making hard cider. And hopefully this year we're going to be getting some significant tonnage off of those trees.
Yeah, last year was kind of a down year because of some weather-related incidents,
Hmm.
but the previous year was an amazing year. So, and pears and cider pears in general, or just pears, there's a lot of them that operate kind of biannually.
Yeah, a lot of heritage fruit is that way. So a lot of the big like Bartlett's, Camise, Bosque, D'Anjou, all those pears generally produce fairly well every year, certainly up and down years. But some of these old heritage varieties of Perry pears, they definitely produce on and off, regardless of what the weather was. If they had a great year the year before, they're probably not going to produce much this, that next year.
So, yeah, so last year was kind of a double whammy because it was probably going to be a lower production year just because it was right after a really high production year. And then we also had like a snowstorm in April. Is
Yeah,
that
snow,
right? Yeah.
snow and frost. It was
So the buds,
relatively hard freeze
yeah. And all like right now, our trees are just towards the, in the
tail
latter
end.
third of their blossoming season. And so imagine the trees full of or about to blossom and to have a snow and frost hit the
And the baby pears that are really sensitive.
yeah,
But it's beautiful right now. You walk out there in a wind, and it's like it's snowing. There's so many petals in the air.
it is really pretty. And then the other thing is just there's a pretty big garden here. What is the footprint size of the
It's about
garden?
a half acre,
It's about a half an acre.
8-foot fence around it to keep the deer out. And then they established patches of perennials, the asparagus, the raspberries, the strawberries, small orchard, and then raised beds.
Yeah. Yeah. So and we right now, um Jeremy's dad is 86 years young,
Hmm.
and he still comes to the garden here and tends to the garden. He's got uh 5 or 6 different types of garlic in the ground right now. So he's a wealth of knowledge. So we definitely have to have him talk about the asparagus and the garlic at some point and do a little video just with Fred drop in some of his knowledge. But we've got a lot of the garden that is unplanned currently. So we'll be documenting that process. And then I've taken over a section of the garden and dedicated that to
Dahlias.
dahlias. I love dahlias. And I didn't really know. I should say I married into this family that has a lot of gardening and farming knowledge and animal husbandry knowledge. And I just bring wit and resourcefulness and a willingness to learn new things. So, what?
And also, it's nice to have someone like you to bring perspective. Why are we doing this the way we're doing it? And to have someone ask that question when you've been doing something a certain way for a long time. For example, we have sheep on the farm, and for a long time, we've been lambing, and significant amount of lambs. Maybe something like 20 lambs a year, and that was a tremendous amount of work, and it's very difficult to market that. So we were selling whole lambs to people, and the profit margin on it was essentially nothing after all the processing
They sold it to some restaurants
into
locally
some
too. Yeah.
restaurants and a
Mhm.
few other things. But it was a significant amount of revenue, but just in the end, it just doesn't pencil out. And it's also just a tremendous amount of work during lambing. Sheep are pretty easy most of the rest of the time, but during lambing, it's a lot. And we were lambing in the middle of winter when there's not a lot else going on the farm, and it was one of the only times that Aaron and I could like get away. We don't have to turn on and off irrigation and all those other things. So
And Oregon in the summer or in the winter is pretty gray for and rainy sometimes depending on where you're at for long periods of time. And so to be able to get away in like January and February, at least for a weekend or a week to get some sunshine someplace is really important. But that's peak lambing season around here.
Right. So that was a good question that Aaron asked. Another one was when we first came was, why are there roosters?
Oh gosh, we don't have to tell that story today. People are just getting to know
Yeah.
us. But, yes, the truth is that we didn't really need roosters, and they're very noisy, so we've had some changes here. Also, just why do we have so many chickens? There was almost 20 chickens when we first got here, and Jeremy's parents ran this farm for the last almost 20 years, and they came to this farm as retired people. So they had more time, and you and I are not retired and have jobs. And so to do some of the farm-based businesses that weren't actually breaking even, we had to make an assessment of that and make the choice really just if we were gonna, have eggs for the whole neighborhood or if we were just going to have eggs for our family and to be able to share them here in the cidery. So yeah, it's a combination of the farm-based business piece, but also like these goals of homesteading where you want to be as self-sufficient and contribute to um, kind of a different way of life for whatever variety of reasons. So striking a balance between those can be a little challenging sometimes.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I think, Aaron started this talking about welcome to your friend's family farm. That's something we always want to have a feeling of. And it's, what the driving force behind everything. And part of that is that this piece of ground is stunningly beautiful. This time of year,
Can see
especially, it's
behind us.
absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And so having the gratitude to look around and not have our um, you know, no noises down in line trimming fence lines and fixing irrigation pipes, from dawn till dusk. But to welcome the celebratory aspect of it, people have been enjoying each other's company on this piece of ground for thousands of years,
Yeah.
and we want to continue that tradition of having people come here and enjoy themselves with us.
Yeah, definitely. And part of that is us, yeah, finding that balance of,
Yeah.
yeah, all of that.
How can we welcome people if we're too harried and frazzled to possibly be in a mind state to have people want to hang out with us?
Yeah, definitely. And we just like being able and I will say that that ties into um our goal of having this channel actually is because we're based in Southern Oregon. It is a pretty remote area of Oregon. Actually, a lot of Oregonians haven't even been to Southern Oregon. Actually, a lot of people tell us we have a lot of friends and family in Portland, in the northern part of the state, Eugene and Seattle, and Washington. But a lot of people haven't been down here, and we just know that there's a lot of stress in the world right now. Just check out the news, whatever channel you watch, and there's stress. Everyone's stressed out. And so part of what we want to do with this channel is not only have it feel like your friend's family farm, but have it give you comfort and relaxation even though you can't be here physically. And maybe someday you can come and visit, which would be amazing. But for right now, it really is a peaceful place. And so we want to be able to share that with people, and the joy of being in a really gorgeous spot too. And you did hear some noise. Obviously, it's a really beautiful day here. And so there are like small private planes that people fly in the area, like those little prop planes or something is that what they're called?
Yeah,
Those little pop yeah,
single engine planes.
single engine planes, so that's what you're hearing. There's about what is it, 30, 40 miles up the freeway north of us as the crow flies. There's a little region, tiny, tiny little airport in Merlin, Oregon, where if you're a fisher person, you know about the Rogue River, and so that's not too far away from us. But anyway, we want to be able to share the beauty of this place and the calm and the relaxation of this place. And part of that is actually sharing the third big topic that we will be sharing on this channel: mini donkeys. So the mini donkeys we have here are Bud and Emma, Lil Bud, we call him, and LB's for short because he's a little chubster. And part of them coming to us was, a neighbor that was looking to downsize and wasn't able to take care of them as well as she wanted to. And so they came to us very overweight. They are sweethearts. Emma's a little shy. They really haven't been socialized other than with one main person that they've had for 15 years or so, but they haven't really had a lot of exposure to much else. And so we've got them here. We can actually see them from where we're sitting. This is the patio of the cidery, actually, of the cider house. And so when people are here visiting, they can see Bud and Emma hanging out. And then this way, but they're still a little ways off. So, like Emma, who gets a little bit nervous sometimes around new things and new people, she's safe and doesn't feel threatened in any way because of the distance between here, but people can still see them. Although Bud would just love it if everyone everyone came in and gave him some brushes and some love. So
And some carrots. He'd
and
particularly like some delicious things to eat, which is exactly what he doesn't need.
he does not need carrots. He was on a steady diet of grass 24/7, carrot, a full carrot once a day, an apple once a day, and then whatever other treats came their way. So yeah, we were working with a vet, and the vet actually comes on Monday to do just a regular checkup. And yeah, we're just really conscious and aware of trying to get them as healthy as possible so that they can have a successful rest last second half of their life because they're middle aged. They should be in peak condition, but not quite. So yeah, so that's the other big thing that we'll be focused on. So those are the three things we'll be talking about on this channel and dedicating to the channel is, the farm-based business, the cidery, the gardening and orcharding, composting practices, and then the mini donkeys and just maybe animal husbandry and like nature and wildlife in general. And one thing we are considering doing is doing a live stream. Uh, we have a little trail cam that we set up from time to time here at the farm, and so far we've seen a lot of deer, a lot of turkeys, and oh, we saw a bobcat recently, which was super cool. It's the first time we've seen a bobcat, coyotes. um we think maybe there's a shape of a mountain lion in one of the images, because a mountain lion was reported down the road the day before. What else?
Uh, Lots of skunks and possums,
Possums.
raccoons.
Oh my gosh, we got the cutest video of a possum recently, a little chubby possum, like walking around, but we just saw him from behind walking away. Anyway, it was really cute.
But we'd like to
And a
use.
fox. Did you say
Oh, fox
fox?
did not say fox.
We just for the first time got a picture of a fox. So, yeah, it's kind of exciting.
This is an amazing place for a lot of other things too. A lot of songbirds, a lot of raptors, vultures, things like that.
Yeah.
So we have binoculars and Sibley's in the tasting room for people to enjoy this spot. And some people just hang out here for hours watching the birds. But
Yeah.
we'd like to share that with people with a little bit higher resolution live stream camera, along with the beautiful oaks that are in the heart of the orchard, as well as the 24 hives that we have going on too. So lots of bees flying around.
Yep. Yep. It's exciting. When you live on a farm and you get to know the wildlife around you, you see certain deer family, you see certain turkey families, you know what's going on, you see the clutches that are born, and the rabbits. We have lots of the jackrabbits. And yeah, it's just really funny to have so many of your neighbors be animals, wild animals. I grew up in Southern California, so it's not what I'm accustomed to, but I have really grown to love it. So we are just well, how about we do just a couple of questions
Sure.
as people try to are getting to know us. First of all, just why is our name Blossom Barn Cidery and Farm, Jeremy Hall?
Well, one of the things that happened is that we were kind of scrambling early on to with our first harvest of cider. We had to come up with a name,
Hmm.
and there's a beautiful old barn here on the property that was built sometime around 1905, 1910. and it's all round wood on the inside, the whole framing. The only thing that's milled is the siding and what the roof is nailed to, and it's a beautiful barn. And we wanted to have that be featured because it harkens to an agricultural heritage of using pears from this area and so on.
Mhm.
And we always wanted it to make it feel like we've said several times that you're visiting your friend's family farm, and what is more iconic on a farm than a barn? And so we wanted that, and we needed to come up with a name so that we could register the name as an LLC. And so we decided we'd call it Big Barn.
Right, that's
And
what we said at first, 'cause who doesn't like some alliteration? Big barn, the 2
right.
B's, and yeah.
And so that was fine, but neither one of us really liked it all the way. It was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is awesome. We love this name." And so Aaron actually, shortly after we had registered the name as the LLC, and we're starting to move forward with the production of the first batch of cider commercially and starting to accumulate expenses as one does on a farm, uh, she had the idea for Blossom Barn. And I think that you had the idea, you said the name, and I loved it immediately. And it was obvious that was the best choice. And there's lots of reasons why.
Yeah.
What were the reasons that you were thinking of for?
Well, of course, blossom because of the pear blossoms or fruit blossoms that we need in order to create fruit and cider, juice and then cider. And then again, the alliteration. Blossom Barn was real nice. Sounds good. I was a English major, and then also it's kind of a funny play on words for this area in the Rogue Valley. There is the Rogue River, as I mentioned, world-class rafting, great, fishing, and there's a rapid on the Rogue River called Blossom Bar, and it's pretty burly. It's like a class 4.
Yeah.
It's a class 4 rapid, and so everyone, if anyone spent time on the river in this area, they know Blossom Bar, and certainly rafters know it, kayakers know it, fisher people know it, and so, for that reason, it's kind of just a nice little shout out to one of our local legends of Blossom Bar and
Hmm.
how what a badass rapid that is and what a gorgeous area that is, so, yeah, it kind of brings that in too.
We always encourage people to run Blossom Bar, and after successfully running it, eddy out and raise a Blossom Barn cider into the air to
Yeah.
celebrate.
Maybe we'll give them some free swag or something.
Yes. Take a
If they
picture,
share,
post
yeah.
that on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. And then on Jeremy's hat there, you can see our logo. So that was one of the other questions is what's the logo all about? And of course it's a flower, so that seems pretty obvious, right? But in fact, it has 5 petals in particular because of the pear blossom. So if you ever look at pear blossoms, they have 5 petals, whereas apple trees usually have 6, right?
No, they all
They also have 5?
five. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they do look different, however. So, the one thing is that the apple blossoms have kind of fatter petals, and the pear blossoms have more of a scalloped petal. And so, in that way, it's more closely similar to the pear blossom. And then we have the colors there too. We've got the blue and the red and the yellow, and the blue is just like the blue sky behind us, and the blue of our cidery building that's here next to us, and then the red is the blossoms and the plants, and then the yellow is like the earth and the hay fields that we have here on the property. We've got 15 acres altogether, and probably 10 of them, 7 of them are hay fields.
Yeah. 5 of it is eating hay, and about 7 of it is hay for bedding for the animals.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's enough Q&A. Thanks so much for the good questions, and, if you have more questions about our 3 topics, or maybe, if you're interested in 1, farm-based businesses and, the cidery, 2, orchard and gardening, composting, or 3, mini donkeys, just put in the comments below 1, 2, or 3, or, if you put your emojis filled with mini donkeys, we'll know which one you're interested in. Which
Is
is
there a mini donkey emoji?
well, there's a donkey
Okay.
emoji, and because it's an emoji, it's already small.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll say that, yeah. So anyway, I think with that we could probably say thanks to
Sign off.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
thanks everybody for watching and following us, and engaging with us on this process. It's awesome to have you.
yeah, we're excited to be your friend's family farm, whether you're in Oregon or abroad. And you can come visit us virtually or in person anytime. Well, if you want to come in person, preferably on the weekends. But we
The
also do appointments.
the gate might be closed
The gate might
otherwise.
be closed. So we'll do a last cheers. Salud. Cheers to you, our new YouTube community. And thanks so much for spending some of your time with us. Bye.
Bye.